It will be my 4-year anniversary with this business, October 14th, which is so crazy to say. It's gone by really fast, but I've also learned a lot. I got into this business, I feel like most other people, just hoping I could earn an extra $500 a month. I was working 2 jobs. I was teaching some fitness classes on the side, but I was also working full-time as a financial aid counselor in a university. And that job came at a time in my life when I was actually a single mom. My husband and I have 4 boys now. We each started out with 1 boy, and then we had 2 more. So we have boys that are almost 11 and 10, and then one that's almost 4, and then a 2-year-old, and is a 2-year-old in every sense of the word of a 2-year-old. Terrible twos. Keeps us on our toes. Praise the Lord. He is sleeping right now. But what I was pregnant with our 3rd child, and I remember just praying that there would be a way that I would be able to stay home past maternity leave. And I always tell people I'm very hesitant to say that. I don't think that working moms are worse than stay-at-home moms or vice versa. I just think this is about what you want. And I was at one of those jobs that I just wasn't compensated a lot for, and it was very stressful, and I didn't love it. And I was very frustrated that I didn't get to choose whether I was home with my baby or not. I didn't like that the number in my bank account was the one that determined that. And so I wanted to do something about it. So when my friend told me about the skinny wrap that tightens, tones, and firms, I'm like, that chick is crazy. But if that thing actually works, it will be a miracle. You can't find it in the store. It works. Sure enough, I remember buying a wrap and trying it on my husband because I was 8 months pregnant. And she was already on track to make $500 a month. And what's crazy is that my enroller doesn't even do this anymore. I was actually the first distributor she signed. I'm like, I want to sign a distributor that goes Ambassador Diamond in a year. But it's crazy. Like, I really do believe the Lord brought her into my life, because I probably wouldn't have signed with somebody so quickly. Like, I think that's one of the things that's really helped me in this business, to build trust with people, because I trust Jessica with my life. Jessica still collects an amazing check. Like, I talk to her regularly. It was very weird for me to see her doing this. And you guys, I had every same hang up and insecurity and fear that everybody else did. I remember thinking, what are my coworkers going to think? What are my friends going to think? And then I remembered, you know what? My friends are going to love me no matter what, right? Whether they buy from me or join my team. And these other people that I'm worried about, like, they don't pay my bills. And granted, that's so easy to say, but it's true. Like, I knew the product worked. I saw it work on my friends and my husband. I was 8 months pregnant, so there was no reason to use it. I saw that my friend was about to make $500 a month. And I was like, you know what do I have to lose? And can I tell you guys, I thought about quitting like at least 10 times my first few months, because I remember just saying, I'm going to do whatever it is my team page leader says, whether I understand it or not, whether I can afford this auto ship thing or not. I'm going to do it. I'm going to give this 100% effort. And I remember like standing in the shower the first few months. I mean, granted, I stood in the shower a bunch of months, but what I'm saying is particularly the first few months, and thinking, I think I'm going to quit. Like, I'm doing all this stuff that they're saying, and this isn't working. You guys, I was not one of these stories. Like, people hear Ambassador Diamond in a year, and it's crazy because there was nothing from my journey in the beginning that would tell you that I was going to go Ambassador Diamond in a year. It took me 8 days to sign my first customer. It took me some getting over myself. And I remember sitting in the shower and thinking, okay, I think I'm going to quit because I don't know that this is working. There are people that are telling me that they're going to order, and they're not. There's people that are reading all these messages that I'm sending, and they're not doing anything. And I just don't think this is working. And I remember there was like a voice within, which I realized now was the Holy Spirit, that said, you're not going to quit. You're going to give this 100% effort for at least a year before we can even have this conversation again. And I remember it started with a decision. We use this expression on my team page called burning your ship. You know, when you get to a new place that you're like, what am I doing here? Burning that ship, even burning that opportunity to go back. And so I burnt my ship and made a commitment that for a year I was going to give us 100% effort every single day before I could even entertain this conversation again. Not even to quit, just to even like have the conversation again. And you all, it completely and totally changed my life. Within 3 months, I was Diamond, left my full-time job. The next month I promoted to double, 2 months later to triple, 2 months later to Prez, and 4 months. And then at that point I made it to Dash as a top 75 earner, and then made it to Ambassador Diamond after. And when people ask me, how did you do that? How did you go to Ambassador Diamond in a year? I gotta be very honest, I don't even know how. And there are so many, to be perfectly honest. In fact, I think it's only recently that I've rediscovered how, just through failing. And I know, like, we're gonna talk, I know, because Stormy kind of gave me some bullet points to talk on. I've been very, very hesitant to tell people that I went Ambassador Diamond in a year for a little bit now, because just because you go ambassador in a year, it doesn't mean that you don't go through things. There's a lot of things that I had to encounter and overcome. And it was something, you guys all know who Pam Souter is at this point. I don't know how many new people are on here. But I remember Pam told me once that there are people that go really, really fast and then have to overcome a lot after. And there are people that overcome things along the way and then they're good. And so what I've been telling my team is that, you know what, it doesn't really matter what your journey is. I think that I went fast, but the part of the story that you guys don't know is that for 6 or 7 years before I joined It Works, I had some really, really hard years, like hard years to the point where if it wasn't for my son, I can tell you without a doubt that I wouldn't even be here right now, because I wouldn't have that person in my life to keep me from taking my own life. And there was a lot that God had to do through that. So I really do believe, I was actually telling Kim Chipak as I saw her opening her press check, and you guys, Kim started just a few months after I did, and she got even a bigger pay raise in 2.5 years or whatever it is to go, almost 3 years to go pres. I really do believe that at somewhere around 10 to 15 years in this process, if you've been consistent, that we're all at the same place. We just all go through different things at different times. So because of this, we were able to pay down debt. I have an oldest son that has autism. He is one of the reasons I did this. I've been able to afford his schooling. My husband has been home, which I know is kind of a weird subject for people, and not everybody wants to bring their spouse home. And I'll be honest, some days we're like, this is not a good idea. But we have found our niche in this. So we have 4 boys. Like I mentioned before, and we do this together now, and I'm super grateful for it. And I'm so excited about what's about to happen. I always tell people that I think there's a few reasons I went fast in this business. Number one, I think that I was so focused on my why. Like, I remember being able to focus on needing $500 a month and knowing that it was going to help me be home with my baby, and like literally crying. When they say your why should make you cry, like I felt that through and through. And you guys, I could not believe that anything more than $500 a month was even possible for me. But I got to 500, and then it was like, if I can get to 500, why not 1,000? Why not 2,000? But here's another thing too. This business is always the right vehicle, always, okay? I don't know another company out there that has a product you can't find in a store that's debt-free, that's international, that's coming out with new products every year, that has a CEO that we do. But I do believe that I joined when there was incredible win. Do you guys know who T.D. Jakes is? Bishop T.D. Jakes. He's this philanthropist, motivational speaker, all that. He talks about how you can have the right vehicle, but not necessarily the perfect wind. And I think I joined at a time that was the perfect wind. And I'm going to be very honest, because I'm telling my team this. The time that we are in right now is exactly, if not a better time than when I even joined. I always say I wish I would have joined prior to October of 2014. You guys, 2018 is the new 2014, because the last time the graph went up like this, the way that Mark showed the ambassadors on a Zoom, was 2014. And the next year, 40 people went ambassador, including myself. And that was the highest amount of ambassadors we ever produced. Except now, we don't just have skinny wraps. We have keto coffee. We have collagen. We have all these other amazing times. So I'm super excited about what's ahead. I'm even more excited about what's ahead than what I came into, even though I didn't even know what I came into. So that's my story, and with a lot of other things in there. What's the next question, Lindsay?
Oh, sorry. That was talking about, I have chills because.
Oh, you saw that.
It was from, sorry. I'm like, I feel.
Wait a second, real quick. Lindsay, is that your real name?
No, I'm on Lindsay Long's Zoom. Sorry.
Got it. Okay. I was
From
like,
this
wait,
weekend,
is
Lindsay.
Stormy
Yeah.
a nickname and where's Morris come into? Is Long your maiden name? Okay,
No,
Stormy. Okay.
sorry. Um, I was just thinking like I have chills because from Pam this weekend, like the same thing. Just she was like, y'all don't even know what is coming. Like you have no idea. And I was just like, I don't know, but I'm ready.
Right. I mean, and she really hit the nail on the head on that. And I've really been telling my team that, like, I feel like, you know, how people are like, oh, I remember when Apple came out with stock or Amazon and it was 5 cents and I should have bought. I really do think that we are in that time again. And I mean, and I'll be honest, it's even harder at this level because I am comfortable. You know what I mean? I don't need like the extra $500 like I needed it then. I'm even reminding myself, do not waste this wind, if I can use that analogy, and of the right vehicle. It works as always the right vehicle. You guys, for those of you that you're newer, this is your first time in network marketing, I'm telling you for a verifiable fact, because I didn't know this when I got in. I remember a year and a half after, like thinking like, gosh, I've been making 5 figures a month for like a year. Like I should really do research on this industry, thinking, holy crap, thank God I joined It Works, because from a business perspective, we really, really are a dream. Like, guys, there are network marketing companies out there that come out with a new product maybe every decade. For a company to be debt-free, international, and come out with a new product maybe every 3 months, 4 months is really, really huge. And to stay ahead of trends, even this whole Connect app, you guys, it is unheard of. Like if you think of, you all know who Beyonce is, right? Or Lady Gaga, or like Cher, Madonna, whether you love them or not, think about it. Those people have stayed relevant. I'm like, gosh, like I am so grateful to be part of this company, you know, in this industry for sure. So yeah, so Pam said it, like, get ready for what's coming because it's going to be big, and that you're going to like look back at this time and be like, oh my gosh, like that is when my entire life changed. But you don't get to experience that if A, you're not putting in the work, and B, if you don't stick around for it. You know what I mean?
Exactly. So I really like that you said that people think, you know, oh, you went ambassador in 12 months. Like you've never had any struggles. Like you're perfectly comfortable. You know, everything is probably like super easy and glamorous. You don't get told no, like all those things that, you know, I feel like when you start out, you're like, oh, well, everything is probably easy for them. Like, look how much money they're making, yada, yada, yada. So could you touch just like a little bit on that? And I'm sure your team comes to you like discouraged sometimes. Like what advice do you give
Yeah.
them?
So, you know, first thing I want to say is like getting to ambassador, yes, like, you know, yes, this has been a tremendous blessing. But you guys, like if I were to tell you that I've never lost rank or that I've never lost but like had major volume dips, I would be a liar for those. And I'm scared to say that for those of you that are new, they're like, and for those of you that, but I'm saying it for those of you that have been in for a while, this is a business in every sense of the word. We are just as subject to changes in business and changes in trends. If you have a company like Google and Starbucks that can, you know, go down in business in 2016, just like everybody else, or freaking Target. I'm sitting at a desk and my whole life comes from Target. Guys, like we are, all of us are susceptible into it. I remember reading articles, you know, that year when I really experienced my first major drop in volume. And guys, I was building the same way. And reading that, guys, this is natural in business. But the people that really succeed and pull shoulders and head above the rest are the ones that stick with it. You know, kind of like if you are in a relationship, you know, how many of you are married on here? Okay. Or have a significant other that you want to keep around for a while. If things aren't working out, abuse aside, you don't just go get a new husband, right? Like that's not what the deal was. You work things out. Again, abuse aside, and I'm saying that as somebody that obviously has been divorced before. It was a verbal and mental abuse situation. It's the same thing, guys. Like you don't get to experience the highs of a business if you're not willing to go through the lows. And I really want to be clear about that. That even goes to like raising a child, everything, anything that's in life worth having. You know, I remember we went to John Maxwell. Everybody knows who he is. He's like the #1 author of all things leadership. He speaks at our church plenty of times. And he said, you know, this man that's in his 60s, almost 70s, with so much wisdom, he goes, anything worth having, their journey to it is going to go like this. He goes, you never hear of anybody that just wakes up one day and is like, oh my gosh, how did I get up here? Nobody says that they just slid into success. And what I want to tell you is that your journey is totally part of it. And this is what I've learned as well. I think a lot of times that we pray to God for, you know, something, a blessing, or God gives us, maybe you're here and you're like, God has totally told me that I'm going to be an ambassador diamond, that I'm going to be a top leader in this company. And then what, and guys, myself included, okay, again, I have lost rank before, but I will tell you this, even losing rank, I still was, our compensation plan is so incredible that I was still able to be in the top 75 of this company, still even with lose, and there's 100 ambassadors, like in the middle there, like still even losing rank and losing a bonus, because this business, this compensation plan rewards you for still doing what you're supposed to do. But the point I'm trying to make is that, you know, God gives us a calling, and then something happens. We lose somebody on our team, right? We have like a really crazy month or whatever. We all of a sudden think, oh my gosh, maybe this isn't for us. Like maybe we didn't hear God right. When in reality, the thing that we're going through is God preparing us for that calling. You know, like I just think if Jesus had to wander through the wilderness for 40 days and it was freaking Jesus, like in order for him to step into his calling, or anybody else, you know, Moses, any of these people, there's still a measure of acting in there. I remember something else that our pastor said. You guys know the story of Sarah and Abraham, and I'm going to recap for those of you that don't know, but God told Abraham that, you know, that he was going to be the father of many nations, and that he was going to have this huge lineage, and they had not been able to get pregnant all these years. And eventually, like one day when they're in their 90s or their 100s, they have Isaac, right? After Sarah has taken matters into her own hands with, and had her husband sleep with a hand servant or maid servant, and they had Ishmael. Anyways, whole point aside, I never thought of this until literally within the last few months, that the pastor said, do you realize that Abraham and Sarah had to put their faith into action? Which means not to take this like to an X-rated or R-rated Zoom, meaning at the age of 90 to 100, they still had to have sex, believing that God was still going to give them this child. And I think that's the big part that we forget in all of this, is that, you know, God gives us a vision or a calling, and we think, you know, you hear that story, that analogy, once you ask God to save you from like a shipwreck, and you tell an airplane and 2 ships, like, oh, God's going to save me, when in reality, that's what it was. They still have to put their faith into action. So I want to tell you that's a big part of it, that whatever it is you're encountering in this business, because I tell myself this too, is that this is my black diamond training. This thing that I'm going through right now that seems really hard, where I feel like God is refining whatever it is that's going on inside of my heart and my mind within my team, this is part of my story. And so I want to tell you that, you know, yes, while speed obviously has been a blessing, and I don't want to tell people that. It's not that I just got lucky. I also worked incredibly hard. I also only slept 2 hours a night for a year. And I don't say that that's honestly what I chose to do, because I was having so much fun. But it doesn't mean that my journey has not been absent of its own trials after, right? Bigger blessings, bigger problems, bigger kids, bigger problems, bigger whatever. So I want to tell you that like, I feel like sometimes we're even more jaded at Ambassador. I feel like I have a harder time signing people now. The month that I've signed the most distributors to this date without a reduced price kit or a free fit 15 or a BOGO is still the month before I went diamond. There was no ruby bonus. There was no emerald bonus. I had not left my job yet, and I was still calling this my side gig, and that was 17 distributors. Of course, there's been some months I've signed more. There's been like a $20 kit or whatever, but I'm talking about a regular month, because this is not relatable. The people that sign with me now, because I'm in ambassador diamond, it's because they've watched me for a very, very long time. They're very skeptical. I would not have signed with an ambassador diamond. I would not have even signed with a diamond. I would not have signed with anybody that had replaced their income because of this. Because honestly, even though that's what I wanted to do, it would have freaked me out. So don't think that just because that your story is too small, because I am the one that's still posting about this paying for a mani-pedi, right? To show that I can do this all from working from my phone. So there's nothing, guys, there's nothing like in speed. Like I said before, I promise you, if you've been working this business as consistent or hard as I have been, and we've been in this relatively the same amount of time, I promise you, talk to me when we've been in this like 10 to 15 years. I think we're going to be at the same place. I really do, you know, honestly.
I love that. I think it was Pam that one time said on something, she was like, the only way to not succeed in this business is to quit.
Yeah.
But then she followed it up with, you know, most people don't even last 6 months.
No, they don't. I was actually, it's funny, I was actually out to dinner with a distributor on my team. When I say distributor, meaning she still has an account. She got to double diamond and a lot of life happened. And I'm very, very serious about, you know, if you're on my team, especially if we're friends, we're friends. I don't care if you're on my team or not. I really do, guys. You guys, like, I pray. I know what God has called me to do. I put in the work. And I just believe that the right people join my team at the right time, and the right people are part of my business at the right time. And I know that sounds crazy. So, and for whatever reason, she's not part of it, but she still has stuff going on underneath her, you know? And she was talking about letting her account go. And I was crossing the street with her because we were going from, you guys are on Ashley's team. We're basically going from the bar to the rest, from one bar to the other. And I said to her, you know, I think this person's going to come back in your team and you're going to have like 2 really good legs. I really hope they do, because I know they really need this. You guys, as I sat down, I got a message from that person saying, we need to talk. I'm getting back into this. I'm more ready now. And you just never know. You just never know. Because like, we're all like, I mean, if Ashley's only been in this business 7 years, that means you all have been in less. We're all babies in this industry, you know, and you don't get to experience that. I've seen the crazy, even in less than 4 years, I've seen the craziest things happen. Sometimes I look at reports and I see like this person that's canceled out, and they canceled out when they thought there was nothing going on. If they knew that they had double diamond volume underneath them, if they knew that they had diamond volume underneath them, if they knew anything, you guys never know. Like, don't put a limit on what's possible. I mean, even, and listen, I understand sometimes that life happens. Don't ever take yourself completely out of the game. And that's what I was telling my friend tonight. I said, I know this is not what you necessarily feel called to do at the moment, but don't take it off the table. Don't do it. You guys, even, you know, I've talked to people on my team that have gone through really hard things, and I call it doing the rule of one. Meaning, of all you do is post on social media once a day, follow up with one person and ask one person. That's still a heck of a lot better than doing nothing. That still adds up. The concepts of this business, and I'm going to be really honest, I feel like sometimes, as much as I love corporate, they do a bad job of representing of what this industry is. This is not supposed to be recruiting 60 to 70 to 80 customers every single month. More power to you if you can do it. That's not how I got here. The purpose and the real model of this industry is a lot of people doing a little bit day in and day out, compounded over time. That's what this is. I was actually doing stuff with my team recently. We've really been working on this whole subject of duplication. Did you guys know that if one, actually I'm gonna pull it up. If one person, if you signed 3 distributors and 4 customers every single month and taught your team how to do that, and they repeated it every single month, assuming that only half the people do it, do you know how many distributors you would have on your team in 6 months? 4,000. Do you know how many customers if only half the people did it? Over 5,000. Do you know how much volume you would have if only half of those distributors ran an 80 BV auto ship, and the average of all those customers was only like a bottle of Fat Fighter, over 300,000, which is more than what you need to be ambassador. This business is not hard. It's not hard to do. We make it so hard because we're so stuck in our own head. You know, you guys, and I'm telling myself this because I'm trying to tell my team this as well. I'm trying to tell myself this. We get so hung up on our own stuff and our own failures, when in reality, we're holding something from somebody that could potentially change their life. It's not that hard, either because we don't think we're capable, we don't think we're interesting enough, or we don't really know what we have our hands on. I blew my own damn mind when I saw that today. I was like, wait a second, I can have an organization that's 50 times bigger this time a year from now. So why am I like scared about asking God for an organization that's only twice as big as what it is now this time next year? When in reality, I should have been asking for one that's 10 times as big. And really what it is that we do it. We put limits on ourselves. Don't be afraid to ask, because the power of this industry and the power of what's possible, combined with a company that really knows what it's doing, or at least cares and comes out with new stuff, you guys, your life can be so different in a year. And when I think back to like why I went so fast, to be honest, it's because I didn't know that I couldn't. I honestly thought when I promoted through every rank every single month to diamond, I was like, well, I'll just promote to double and then, you know, triple and presidential and ambassador. I didn't know that I couldn't. But can I tell you something? My 2.0 is sitting at a very strong double diamond right now. You know how long it took me to go to double diamond 2.0? It took me a year and a half, and it only took me 4 months the time before. And it's been sitting there for over a year. And you know what the only difference is that I am so much in my own head. Or I have been, not anymore. I have been so much in my own head. I didn't know that I could not do that before. So if you've been in this for a while and you've only been saying, God, please help me re-rank as, you're not asking big enough. And if you're in this and you're like, God, please help me get to executive, you're not asking big enough. You're not believing big enough, because the power of what's available here, I'm telling you this fresh off the cuff, because I only did this calculation the last few days. And I was like, God, I've been totally insulting you. Like, if my organization, if everybody's organization could be 50 times bigger just by doing 3 distributors and 4 customers every month, and only half of those doing that every single month, like, this is nothing. You guys, we have a product that you can stick on yourself, and in 45 minutes you're skinnier. We have a coffee you can take with you everywhere, and people are losing weight, and 80% of the world drinks coffee. This is not hard. And I'm telling myself this, just so you know, like, I'm not talking down to you. Like, I'm telling myself this. This is not hard, okay? And we can do this from anywhere. Anywhere we have this, we can do this. It's not hard. So I know there was a lot there. I know that wasn't the original question, but this has been a personal journey. I feel like I've had to like go full circle in all of this. Speed does not mean anything. Speed is not an ultimate determining factor of where you'll ultimately be. But I can tell you for certainty that you will never experience those major peaks in this business if you quit, and that everybody goes through it at every point. Whether you went fast and then experienced a major dip, or whether you did it along the way, we all go through it. The only difference is, are you just going, when you're in the valley, are you going to stay there? You know, that's really the only difference. I guarantee you, those of you, however many years from now, you know, 5, 6, 7 years from now, we've all stuck with it. We're all going to be at the same place. We're all going to be millionaires. So it's just who's going to stick with it.
I agree. Tammy always tells me, like, it doesn't matter how long you do it, it's still going to feel just as sweet. And I exactly. Agree. Like, triple diamond did not feel any less sweet because it took me a lot longer than I was on track for. I mean, I went double a year, and then I was like, okay, like, this is just going to keep rolling, and it didn't keep rolling. But you know what? When I went triple in July, I wasn't like, man. Ugh.
It wasn't like I'm such a loser. Look at me. I'm making 5 years a month now, and it took me like, it takes people like decades. Who cares?
Yeah. I mean, I was still opened it up and looked at my check that I work a heck of a lot longer every day and was like, yep, pretty much blew it out of the water.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Exactly.
it is hard to remember that sometimes, but again, like when you open that first check of that next ring, there's nothing on your mind thinking about how long it took you to get there, or you're not even thinking about how hard you worked to get there. You're just
No,
excited.
no. And I tell people that I really think my first year in this business, I wasn't looking to the left or right. It was honestly after I went ambassador that it really screwed with my mind, because they start giving you a number when you hit top earners. And that's what really messed with my mind, to be honest, because then it was like really comparing. I went to GLS, the Global Leadership Summit, back in August, like a month ago. It was actually exactly a month ago. Yes, almost exactly a month ago. And there was a speaker there. His name's Simon Sinek, however you say it. And he was talking about Google and Microsoft. Obviously, Microsoft has had like this dominating place, but now it's pretty much not Google, Apple and Microsoft. And he was saying how his experience with both companies, that he spoke at a Microsoft event, and Microsoft is only consumed with being better than Apple. That's it. That's all they're consumed with. And they gave them like a Zoot or whatever. It's like their version of the iPod or whatever. And he goes, but then I spoke at an Apple event. Apple is not consumed with being better than Microsoft. The only thing Apple is consumed with is being better than whoever they were the year before. He goes, I remember getting in a car with an Apple executive and saying, hey, when I spoke at Microsoft's event, they gave me a Zoot, and I gotta be honest, it's pretty good. I think it's better than your iPod. He said he was doing it to kind of stir the pot. And the Apple executive said, you know what, I'm sure it is. And that's it, you guys. This is like an infinite thing, and the only person you need to be better than is whoever you were the year before. That's what I'm telling myself when it comes to numbers, when it comes to whatever it is. Are you giving it your all? You don't get to, honestly, I tell my team every single day, not 50%, but 100% of your effort every single day for a year. You cannot even begin to have a conversation of whether this is working for you or not. And until you've really ridden out every season like you would a marriage, like you would a career, like you would anything else in life, the only person, and I'm telling, like, guys, I'm speaking to you like I'm speaking to myself, which makes me sound crazy, but I do have these conversations with myself. The only person you should be striving to be better than is the person you were yesterday. That's it. And in doing that, that's how Apple has beat out everybody else, because they're not worried about this finite battle, because you guys were all at a different place at every point in our life and in business. But you don't get to experience those highs and those victories if you bail on the lows. You just don't. And I hope I can say this, because Stormy, you've been in a little longer than I have, right? Or a little less, around the same time?
Yeah, I came in March of 2015. I came in around about the same time Kim did.
Okay, around the same time. For those of you that have, do you have people on here that have been in just as long?
Not quite. Maybe within a couple months. Yeah.
Well, you're going to notice as you continue going on, there's going to be people that, you know what, when it gets hard, it's going to bail. And those are the people that when I look at reports in my downline, I'm like, holy crap, that they only knew what was going on underneath them. That all they would have to do is run an auto ship and collect a $5,000 check, a $10,000 check. But you don't get to experience that if you bail.
Yep, I look at that. Heck, I think about it. The person who Tammy put me under. I think, man, that girl quit in 3 months. I mean, I was only a Ruby when she quit, but now.
So you guys know who Stephanie Dunn is, I'm sure. Okay. So one day I got to sit next to her at a lunch. We were at an event. This was like a year and a half ago. And I was like, where'd you come from? Like, I felt like I was asking God where he came from, because I had no idea. I was like, where'd you come from? And she's like, well, I'm in Carla Burns, who's another tip top ambassador. I'm in her downline. I was like, oh, did Carla enroll you? She goes, no. She goes, there was 8 diamonds between me and Carla Burns over the course of 2 or 3 years. I was like, you mean like people that like were diamond that still have their account? Like, she goes, no. Like 8 people between Carla and Stephanie Dunn that promoted to diamond, but at some point completely canceled out their account because they thought there was nothing viable going on. You all, I have talked to Stephanie Dunn in a December, And I was like, oh, she's like, oh, my volume's like only at 40 million today. Like, I mean, can you imagine? Don't be that person. I don't care what happens in your life. You have your hands on the best, incredible opportunity out there. Your business has an asset value. I don't care how slow you're going. Never take yourself out of the game ever.
Wow. Yeah. Can you imagine being one of
No,
the people that quit and Stephanie Dunn is under?
no, I'm not dumb. That's not going to be me.
I know, I'm like, mm-mm. So you're talking about duplication, and I really like that because even like the power of one that they talked about at conference. So if you were trying to teach, if you signed your 3 distributors and you're trying to teach them to duplicate, like how do you keep it super simple? Because I think a lot of people, they get super excited, they sign a distributor and then they don't know what to do with them. And then we either kind of overwhelm them or, how do you
You
start
know,
off?
I gotta be honest. I feel like I am revamping everything for my team. I think we made this so complicated. I did this whole post on Ambassador Club. Somewhere in the last couple of years, I think we became hyper focused on mass enrolling customers, which I'm not gonna knock that. That's awesome that you can do that. But I think we sold ourselves short because I think we were just so afraid of offering the business and scaring people away than that if we had offered the business. So now I'm leading with the business with everything. So when I get somebody started, I actually have a Zoom scheduled with a couple of new distributors where I'm going to say, okay, here we go. Step 1, we are going to sign your first 5 loyal customers. Who are they? And help them make that post, help them send that message. No joke, I literally have this going on Friday. Okay, we sent those messages. Now, who would you like to work with? Let's send 10 of those messages and like show them what a post looks like. I think that we become super consumed with numbers when in reality, if I just focused on one distributor a week and taught them how to sign 5 customers and 3 distributors their first month and duplicate that process, that's really what it is showing. And I came from a mentality that the right ones will just take off. And I believe that. What does Cami say? It doesn't matter, you can sign 10 people. It doesn't matter what you do, whether you're present or not, like one of those people is going to take off, right? And I think about that, about my enroller who signed me and then pretty much within 5 months pieced out. I still continued on. And then she goes, it doesn't matter what you do. There's going to be like 1 to 2 of those people that aren't going to do anything. But the rest can still be influenced. And that's going to be by you using the products, by you showing them how you post and how you're consistent every day. And then sitting down with them and really developing them. I think sometimes we think as the end goal is just signing them. It's not. That's the beginning. Can you imagine rather than signing, if you're signing currently 10 customers a month, imagine if you had 10 people on your team that were even just signing 5 customers a month. You know what I mean? Like 10 times more what you're making right now. If you just duplicated yourself and truly show, think about yourself. How would you have somebody show you that? I think we make this way more complicated than it needs to be. Show them. Do it with them. Really take the time to develop them. I think on one of our top leader Zooms, Cami Pentecost said she got to Black Diamond barely completing her steps every month. She was just really good at developing her people. Really good. So that's what I'm personally doing. I have a Zoom scheduled with the most 2 recent distributors I signed this Friday, where I'm gonna be like, hi, this is GB, this is BB. Let's make your first initial post. Okay, let's sign some, who are the first few people that have you had amazing news? Okay, great. Now let's talk about posting 101. Okay, great. Let's schedule your launch. Okay, great. Who would you like to work with? Let's send some of those messages and get them rolling that way. That's what I'm doing personally. And making sure they're going through their training academy too. And think about it. I would much rather do that with 4 people a month than try to sign 20 distributors a month and hope they stick, right?
Definitely. Yeah, and I feel the same way. I feel like I'm constantly trying to revamp it, and it's sometimes I have to remind myself it doesn't matter what you do or say. There's people that are going to either do it or they're not going to do it.
I know some of you will scratch your heads when I say this. I literally just posted on my team page, I don't want any of you, unless you're new and you don't have your first 4 to 5 customers, doing any more product host to post this month. I said, you're done with that. I said, you're done reaching out to people about this business, about the product. I said, we're not doing that. I know they're scratching their heads. I said, we are leading with the business. If somebody's not interested, then we'll talk to them about product. You guys, I looked at my reports from the first month, from the first year that I went ambassador. I signed 138 customers, which is pretty decent. That averages 11.5 customers a month. But remember, I went balls to the walls, and I had a warm market, a decent warm market on social media. But you know how many distributors I signed? 138. And that's what I'm trying to tell people. And so what I'm trying to tell my team. I didn't even know this, guys, till recently. Like, I feel like the Lord really just gave me an epiphany. I sent as many distributors and taught them how to sign customers and distributors. That's how I went ambassador. And I didn't even know, because I was so darn excited and believed that it was possible. That was really it. I didn't sign 50 customers every month and 20 distributors every month. Guys, that's not how I got here. I was just good at duplicating because I was so freaking excited. Think about it. Don't make it so hard, okay? Don't make it so hard. And if you're one of those people, like, ask yourself, are you sharing about the business daily? Are you asking people about the business daily? And I think, sometimes it's scary for us because you have to put yourself out there. And you guys, it's so much different asking somebody if they want to drink skinny coffee versus if they want to build a business with you. That takes time. To be patient and trust that process.
Sorry. My
husband, you're good.
He was texting me, asking me.
Mason Jackson, Deborah. Mason Jackson has been around for years. I think she also goes by Valerie Gill. That's her other alias. She's been around since I've been new in this business.
Is it a scam?
Yeah, it's a scam.
I was going to say, it's the email one that you get that says, I want to sign up.
Yeah, or just like, I want to teach you how to, and it's just a scam. Yeah. Mason Jackson, Valerie Gill, either one of those.
Oh, good to know. I've gotten the email, or a bunch of my people got the email one time.
Yeah.
Okay. Awesome. Thank you. So my other thing is, and this was big for me this weekend, is you were saying you weren't asking big enough. And I think 100%, like, I came back just thinking like I wasn't dreaming big enough. So I know I'm not teaching my team to dream big enough. And you started for 500, and then you decided like, okay, if I can do 500, I can do 1,000. So how did you expand your mind to $30,000 a month?
I don't know. I think I just did. Like, I just honestly got to 500. I was like, well, I did 500. Like, why not 1,000? And I think also the way that we're structured, because if you look at an emerald, it's 2 rubies. If you look at a diamond, it's 3 rubies. So I'm like, I've already built 1 ruby. Like, what the hell? What's another one? What's another one? What's another one? The only time that I really got stuck was honestly after going presidential. I remember I was on this green carpet of 2015, and I was with my upline on this like pontoon boat thing that I was qualified for. And I was a new presidential, and my next goal was obviously ambassador, and I put out to do it by September, which I didn't do it in September, you guys. I did it in October, so I totally missed my goal. But I remember looking out over the water and thinking, I don't know that I can do this. And it was honestly the first rank that I was like, I don't know that I can do it. And I remember saying to my husband, I need to get over this, because this is not how I promoted to the other ranks. Like, I just need to get over it. Like, this is the hardest part, because if I don't get over this, I'm not going to do it. So I don't know what it is, whether you have to tell yourself it every single day. And that's kind of where I am right now with some other things. Like, why is this not possible? If I was able to bring this amount of money into my life, like, money is just energy. But you guys, it's also retraining your brain, and not just retraining it to think like what's possible, but getting rid of whatever it is that's making you think it's not possible, whether it's a limiting belief on yourself or your team. Because that's another thing. Your business is a reflection of the thoughts you have over it, even if you've never told anybody else. And I love Denise Walsh was there this weekend, and she talked about her war room that she would go into. And when she was really struggling with things in business or her, the publication she's doing on the side, she said she would go into this room and call it out as if it's already happened, whether she was feeling it or not. And guys, that's a real hard work. I think another thing that probably stood out to you too, Stormy, was when Pam was talking, we were outside and she was talking about working harder. And she's like, I'm not talking about working harder, like messaging more people. She's talking about working harder, meaning doing the work on ourselves. You guys, your business, your team, you are the lid of your business. And I remember Carla Burns talks about this, meaning 98% of the time, your team is not going to exceed you, not only in your work ethic, but in your personal growth and how big you're dreaming. So if you're dreaming small, guess what 98% of your team is dreaming? Smaller. So it all starts with you. And I've seen, even throughout my team, I've seen the most amazing things happen. Can I tell you something? I just gave myself goosebumps. I've been praying that people that I've really loved in this business, that they would come back to their business. Is it any mystery that I've been getting these messages? I've been thinking it. Now, please, I don't have it together in other areas, but I mean, that's where it all starts. So if you're not listening to something every day, some sort of personal development or doing that hard work or even praying over your business, I really encourage you to do that, you guys. It will change everything. Okay? Pray about it, think it, believe it. Cast out anything that's not true. So if you're telling yourself, I suck at this business, I'm not a good leader, I'm not a good customer signer, I'm not a good distributor signer, guys, it's all crap. It's not real. It's not based in reality. And you have to cast that out. And I know that sounds, on one hand, that sounds cheesy. It's like, oh, okay, it's in a chance, but it really will. I have seen such miracles happen in this business. I've seen a difference in the people that I sign in my business when my mindset was right versus when it wasn't. I have, there's totally different.
Well, and I think if you're working scared, or that's the people you're bringing in. That's the energy you're putting out. That's the people you're bringing in, for sure.
Right.
I agree. Sorry, I'm just reading back over some of the other stuff I sent you. Okay, so you have a new person on your team, and you need to let them know this is what I would recommend for consistency, showing up, getting rid of your excuses, without scaring them. But I always try to set that bar up front, hey, this is a business and it's only going to be
right.
So, I know your team has life. What do you, when they're running into that life, but that they have to be consistent and continue to show up, what would you say about that?
So that's where I do, I remember I've had, a couple girls recently that they're going through, something really hard. I'm like, listen, first of all, be their friend. Don't be the type of leader that's get your butt back in the game. Okay. Don't do that. And I totally talk to them as a friend, because I do, even the fact that I went out to dinner tonight with somebody, you know what I mean? That's the way we are on our team. But I say, listen, this business has, the ability to completely change your life, so that unfortunately, when life happens again in the future, if you built it right, you're not worried about bills. And because I really want that for you, my biggest suggestion to you right now when it comes to your business is to not completely take yourself out of the game. So I've had people, like I said before, I call it the rule of one. Just post once a day, something something completely not it works related that you would post anyways. But then something, whether product or business, I want you to reach out to one person about the business, and I want you to follow up with one person. And I can tell you that a couple months later, when they got out of what they were doing, they were like, oh my gosh, I'm so glad that I did that because it still kept me in the game. It still kept me relevant. People still ask me about stuff. And when I went to go sign this distributor, I'd never skipped a beat. It's kind of like if you were, again, I was a fitness instructor, so forgive my analogies, but this is what it was. It's like when you can't exercise hard, but you're still walking around the block or whatever, your ability to recover faster is going to be all the much quicker. Never take yourself out of the game, because I promise you this, everybody is going to sign us something one day. I have signed so many customers and distributors that knew somebody or even had a freaking best friend that was doing this, but because they're not consistent enough or stop posting, they end up signing with me. Don't be that person. Never take yourself out of the game. So if you're dealing with life, deal with life. By all means, nobody expects you to be a robot. Deal with life, but put it in perspective, okay? Because if you still have time to watch the TV show or whatever, you still can throw up a post about skinny coffee, for crying out loud. You can still check in with a customer. You can still ask somebody, because life is going to happen. That's one thing that's certain. It's not always going to be convenient to build this business, but one thing is for sure is that you're going to go through life. And there are times that I've gone through life this last couple of years that I'm so grateful that I built this business when it wasn't convenient, because it was still there. And I'm not saying that money brings happiness, but holy crap, money can bring peace of mind. Because when you're going through life, it's a lot easier if you know your bills are going to be paid. Just saying.
I agree. That was my first green carpet ever. Stephanie and Joel Dunn said that. They said, life is going to happen.
Yeah.
You're going to be able to have the financial, money is not going to be everything, but basically you're going to need that money when life happens, and life is always going to happen. I was like,
right. It's always going to happen. You never know when it's going to happen. Absolutely.
So true. Well, you guys, I'm going to let you guys open it up in the chat if y'all have any questions for her. Like I said, we kind of talked through those topics, but if you guys have any questions, I'm sure she would be more than happy to answer them. Or if you have anything else to add that you feel is extremely important, we're just all soaking it in.
Just what I said before, to just trust the process and I've just really enjoyed maybe I've made myself like a sicko in this respect, but to really just enjoy the journey, that even the really tough days in my business, and you guys, it happens in anything that's worth having. You can have a spouse that you love, but I would be a liar if I said that I haven't had tough days with Sean, or I would be a liar if I said that I haven't had tough days as a mom. Just realize that it's part of the journey and it's making you better. And it doesn't mean that the calling is not for you. It's just God, refining you for that calling. There's so many things that have happened recently. I'm like, oh my gosh, thank God I went through this, So don't forget that, and don't waste, don't throw away your calling because it's a little uncomfortable. That's not life. It's not real. People love reality. Not that we should ever be trying to sell. We're always trying to share, but reality sells. Vulnerability sells. Be you. That would be the biggest thing in this. And duplicate. Make as much money. You get paid way more to sign distributors and teach them to duplicate than you do just signing a ton of customers. What are your daily non-negotiables? My daily non-negotiables, and I feel like it just changed recently. My daily non-negotiables are, number one, personal development. The way that you would take a prescription, the way that you would breathe air, okay? Or drink water, that needs to be your personal development. Listening to a book that stretches your mind. I'm listening to 2 or 3 books at the same time. For me, guys, your mind, it's kind of like anything else. You don't just get to the best shape of your life. You're like, all right, I'm good. I'm done eating healthy or going to the gym. Or you're married. You get married. You're like, I said I love you. We're good. We don't need to devote any more time to this. Your business, same way. Your mind, holy crap, especially. So when I get up in the morning, guys, some mornings I don't feel like it. I put on my audio Bibles. I'm getting ready. At the gym, I'm listening to them. Whenever I'm not doing this, I'm trying to put things in my mind. Personal development, number one, non-negotiable. You can do it in the car. You can do it around the house. Number 2, posting on social media. Social media changes all the time. My goal is to post, if you're new, you should be posting twice, but 1 to 2 times on Instagram, 1 to 2 times on Facebook, and 5 to 10 times in your stories. Why? It keeps you relevant. You guys, that is the age we live in, whether you love it or not. We are in a social media age, okay? Can I tell you something? This is a new shirt I bought. I posted this on Instagram. I got 2 messages from people asking me to just model crap. That I was listening to a book right now that's saying that social media influencers are getting paid more than even big advertising brand agencies. That is the world we live in. So whether you build belly to belly or party to party, you need to have a social media presence. It just makes sense. If you owned a traditional business, you would have a Facebook page and you would have a website. So I post on social media daily. In that, I make sure I touch on my business once. I make sure I touch on a product once. And I also make sure I share my life and that I'm real, okay? I do not always look like this. This just happened to work in my favor for you guys tonight because I was going to dinner. Typically, my hair is on top of my head and I'm in workout clothes 95% of the time. Be real. My goal is also to go to live every other day. It's not always about business. And then my goal is to add to my network, whether it's adding new people on Facebook or Instagram. If I'm in a public place, to make a new friend. If I'm at the park and I meet a mom, ask her to be friends on Facebook. That's not weird. That's the day and age that we're in, okay? Then I also make sure that I ask 10 new people about doing this business with me. If they're not interested in the business, guess what? They can try my products at my discount without having to sell anything. And then I also make sure that I follow up every day. You guys, I've timed myself before. It takes me like less than an hour to do this. Oh, and then engaging. Engaging is rocking my world right now. Just interacting and liking and commenting on the stories of my friends on Instagram and Facebook and on posts as well. And I also do a few parties in my house. I'm a hybrid business. I do a few parties in my house at least like 3 times a month for sure. Because that's really great because I realize people that are watching me on social media that are local come to the party. So let me see these other questions. Best way to grow your network, do things like go meet people out and about. I signed up at my son's new school to do all this holiday crap that I am not a crafty mom. So I didn't sign up for the crafts, but to help with different things, meet new people, go take new workout classes. I used to teach fitness classes. I'm getting back into that. Adding people on Facebook, adding people on Instagram. And guys, it's not weird. Like, Nicholas started playing sports. It's not going to be weird for me when I go to the ballpark and I talk to mom, oh my gosh, I would love to connect. Are you on Instagram? Are you on Facebook? You guys, it's not weird, okay? That's how I grow my network. Do you have a number that you try to hit when you're engaging? I just set timers. So I typically try to have 10 to 15 minutes on each social media platform. I like to do it in the morning, and then I like to do it at night. It kind of just fits in whenever I want. But let me tell you something, that is rocking my world right now. What I love about engaging on stories is that it starts a messaging dialogue with that person, so you can see who you've already been engaging more with. So somebody that we've been going back and forth, that's somebody I might message about the business, provided that they seem like somebody I would want on my team. So yeah. Good questions.
That's smart. And also when you're engaging with them on your stories, typically, right, they start showing up in your newsfeed more investors.
Right. Yep. All of that. Engaging is huge right now. That has been changing my business so much. I feel like I have all these new leads because of it.
I've only been posting twice a day since you put that thing about Facebook in the chat, and my engagement has gone up, my interaction so much from going from 2 to 3, 3 to 2 times a day. It's been crazy.
Right. Sometimes it's only once for me. Now listen, if you're newer, let me tell you this. If you're newer, I want you to aim at a minimum of twice a day because you need to build more content. So for people to go to your page and look at it, but really, twice on Facebook. I think I've posted once on Facebook today, but my engagement's been up because it's all been in stories and interacting.
Awesome. Well, do you guys have anything else for her? Because if not, we've been right about an hour. I want to let her go. I know she's a busy woman. Also, you're an hour behind us. So it's 11.
No, I'm ahead. It's 11:04 here. Oh, this is nothing. No. That's not even late for me. I don't perks of being your own boss. I'll just get up whenever I get up. So this was, you guys, honestly, I'm so honored. Stormy, I know we just met through Ashley's thing, but I want you guys to know that Ashley and her team have just been just so huge, just part of my business. And Ashley was that person when I broke into the top 75 that even though I was new, she remembered my name and friended me. But even just the more interaction I've had with the team, they're just really, really good people. So if you're new on this and you're I don't know what I joined, just trust me, you're in the right place. Stormy is awesome and amazing. And guys, don't ever quit anything, nothing. Don't quit this, especially. Right?
Thank you so much, Genevieve. I really cannot thank you enough. I knew it was going to be
Yes.
good, but it was like even better than I knew it was going to be.
Yay! Well, good. I'm glad to hear that.
They are
So,
loving it.
well,
We
good,
appreciate
guys.
you, and you have a good evening.
You too. Thanks, guys. Bye.
Bye.